Anglophone crisis.
They are at fighting dogs of gendarmerie. When the situation is not hard, we don't need to use them. And we don't need to send them just to go and keep areas. They are intervention unit. They cannot move scattered.
BT life! Never promising! Never promising! BT life! Never promising!
The images you're watching are not scenes from a movie. They are the daily reality of the people living in the Anglophone regions, West Cameroon or former Southern Cameroons, in what has now become clear as the Anglophone crisis. A conflict that has claimed lives. More than 8,000 people have been killed, displaced 1 million, left 300 villages burned, and thousands of people still missing, in what is now captioned by others as the Ambazonia War of Independence.
This is a dispute of identity and statehood between two independent states. I move from there. The manipulation, because let me tell you, the Francophones are not even sufficiently equipped, intellectually speaking, to decode this problem, because they are all brainwashed about how they should see us. They are beginning to feel it now when the weight of the mischief of the agents of foreign interests on Ambazonia is beginning to visit them.
But how did we get to the point of no return for peace in the Anglophone region?
Who is the sugar and who is the water? I'm asking the government bench of Cameroon, who is that you rape our children? My brother's daughter has been raped in Boya. I swear to you, the government of this country, does the president of this country know that the governors and the DOs and all the administrators you are sent to West Cameroon are out there behaving exactly like an army of occupation? Our people have nowhere to go. We have made all the efforts. Our ancestors and our forefathers trusted you to go into a gentleman's agreement that two people who considered themselves brothers could go to live together. If this is what you show us after 55 years, then those who are saying that we should break Cameroon are right. They are correct. The people of West Cameroon cannot be your slaves. The people of West Cameroon are not, you did not conquer them in war.
It all began in October 2016 with a peaceful protest by teachers and common law lawyers in the Anglophone regions. These teachers were protesting against Anglophone marginalization and the deployment of French-speaking teachers to teach in the Anglo-Saxon system of education in government schools and universities. Teachers from a French-speaking background would use poor English language to teach students subjects such as biology, chemistry, geography, and the English language. In most cases, the students will have difficulties understanding the core of the subject. Teachers' Trade Union saw the deployment of French teachers to teach in English system of education in the Anglophone section, even without the mastery of the English language, as the last straw that broke the camel's back.
What's his name again? Gogomo? I want to inform Anglophone Cameroon that Professor Gogomo was a teacher in GTHS Bamenda before he went back to school and got to become a professor, and that he has desecrated professorship, and that he would not address justice, he would not address issues of injustice, shows that he is doing everything to protect his position as a privileged slave in this country. By Monday, we will know whether Yaoundé controls Anglophone Cameroon or we control our country, because they are doling out huge sums of money that people won't be able to go to. The issues that we have raised are community issues, and everybody has an interest. That's why everybody is coming on board, putting their own contributions. After Monday, we will think of what else to do that would bring this government down on its knees.
The lawyers, on their part, also saw several issues within the judicial system as the last straw that the camel's back was broken, and thereby resurrected the argument of the 1961 period, which favored either independence or a better federal structure.
We went to court today, they refused us to enter the court. If they refuse us from being common law lawyers, that would be a visa for us to exit. And do not worry, after the launch of the common law bar, we are going to establish mediation centers of that bar across the common law jurisdiction. So whether the courts are open or not, we shall take our clients' cases and do mediation. It will be cheaper, and the parties to dispute will come out friends.
The Teachers' Trade Union, in moving forward with these, called for indefinite strike action by early October. The lawyers, on their part, also staged a peaceful protest calling for the bigurial and bicultural nature of Cameroon. The common law lawyers insisted that there was an assimilation agenda by the French government of President Paul Biya to totally destroy the fabric of the Anglo-Saxon culture. They saw the agenda of President Paul Biya and Amadou Ahidjo as an agenda of assimilation, thereby staged a peaceful protest by early October 2016. With this protest staged in October, one would have thought that the government of Cameroon will be more cautious about using force, but things quickly took a different turn as the government resorted to use force to molest and torture the teachers. The common law lawyers were tortured and molested in Boya and in Bamenda. Their wigs were seized by police officers, whom to them was an insult to their personality. This was the beginning of trouble for the people of the Northwest and Southwest region.
Watch that.
People wonder how the government of Cameroon will use force to attack unarmed lawyers who were protesting without blocking the road or disrupting government activities.
We came here to demonstrate our anger against the system, against the regime, the oppressive laws, the abuse of the common law. But they have gone into all the hotels and ransacked them, seizing lawyers from, sending lawyers out of the hotel room, blocking all lawyers not to get access to even vehicles.
Our rob was seized, my rob was seized, and a senior lawyer was molested by the forces of law and order. It's a very shameful country. Where are people going to now? We don't know. We have been molested. We don't know what to do. Our robes are seized.
After the attack on the lawyers in Boya and in Bamenda, the court became empty as common law lawyers called for the suspension of court appearances. The government's response to the lawyers' protest was shocking, as they were told that when they became hungry, they will go back to court.
Today, I'm saying it today, I will say it tomorrow. There is no Anglophone problem in Cameroon. And I've given facts to justify what I see. Prof has said something which is important. He says that an Anglophone has never been a Minister of Defense in Cameroon. Then Reverend Father said that, Reverend Father Pastor said that we have to, that the Anglophones will not more talk in the bush, they are inside the parlor. As far back as 1983, President Paul Biya said that you don't need to stay in the bush to air your views. President Paul Biya said, in fact, in French he said, mais vous n'avez plus besoin de prendre le chemin de Maquis pour exprimer vos opinions. That was 1983. So Cameroon has been a free society. You understand? In the New Deal, Cameroonians are free to air their views. And I want to say something which is clear. I was following Radio France International other day, and lawyer Bobga, I want to quote him. Come on, Bobga, I don't know the second name. I know he's Bobga.
Yeah, his second name is Emmanuel.
Yes, and I'm not more interested in to know the second name, because he said that so long as we don't go back to the federal system of government, we cannot solve the problems of the lawyers. That is what he said in Radio France International. And I want to talk about the common law. He started somewhere. He should go back and verify. And in this country, do they use the common law system again? I want to ask him the question. We are talking about the common law. It started somewhere. What is the history of the common law today? And I want to tell him that, okay, he says that so long as we don't have a federal system of government, he thinks that we cannot solve the problem. There is no federal system of government. It's a past issue. We don't talk about things which we have, those facts have been treated, it's over. We talked about the reunification, we came back to 1972.
I didn't order the sit-down strike or stay away from court. No, I didn't. But I must be honest to you that I subscribe to it. I subscribe to it because, as you know, the crux of the matter is the OHADA Uniform Acts. When Cameroon went ahead, therefore, to sign the treaty, which stipulated that the language was French only, it was in violation of the Constitution of Cameroon.
And the teachers will return to their classrooms when they too became hungry. A prophecy that never came to reality as the teachers and lawyers became united under what was then known as the Civil Society Consortium. The Anglophone Civil Society Consortium made things difficult for the government of Cameroon to use force in resolving what they had been calling for a long time. It was only after the formation of the Anglophone Civil Society Consortium with Barrister Bala Agbonkongo and others, Tassan Wilfred of the teachers, that the government realized that the train has left the station and will not be coming anytime soon.
Houses, businesses will not open, taxis, Benzike, nobody will work, schools will not open, parents should not send their kids to school.
The Biya's government announced a dialogue with the teachers and the lawyers in what became known as the Interministerial Ad Hoc Committee. One was to take place in Bamenda and another in Yaoundé. The one in Bamenda was for the teachers and the one in Yaoundé was for the lawyers to look into the complaints of both groups. While this was in progress, by early November, the University of Buea incident struck. Students were tortured, beaten, when a protest erupted in the University of Buea, with the students calling for the restoration of their rights and proper educational system be given to them.
The policeman just came in and just removed me from the restaurant and started beating me. So I don't know what was going on.
Wait, are you a student?
No, I'm not a student.
So you are a resident in Moliko?
Yes, I'm not a student.
So they just got into the restaurant and started beating you?
Yes.
Were you just alone or you had other people at the restaurant?
Somebody there, I don't even know the person.
And they started beating all of you?
Yes.
So what did they say in the course of the beating?
Nothing.
Okay, and now they have injured you, they just beat, they did this and left?
Yes.
So what's your advice now to ordinary Cameroonians?
For me, I don't even have any advice. My own is just, I'm innocent. Whether what is going on, I don't know. So everybody should just be careful. So, because this country is really showing that there is something behind that. One cannot even know what is going on.
In Bamenda, the dialogue was led by Paul Gogomo, but as negotiations went on in Bamenda, the locals were not happy with what was going on, and they decided to storm the venue when they heard that the teachers were being forced to sign a deal to call off the strike without an agreement to look into the 1961 debacle or the 1972 referendum, which was seen as a total annihilation and assimilation of the former Southern Cameroon's culture. To them, this is what needed to be revitalized. The evening became bloody as some protesters were injured and at least one person killed in Bamenda that night. This forced John Frundi and Ben Muna of blessed memory to come out from their den to address the situation.
Here because the whole town is blocked, and the whole town is blocked on conditions that they held the teachers and the negotiating team here hostage. So I came to see it myself. I've seen that they were still there doing their work under normal conditions and nobody was held hostage.
I came to verify. One of them, Mr. came out and seems they were discussing. And then for the time being, they're working. I trust them. I can now live calm that they are not under any molestation or being held against their will.
Future is theirs. I'm 77. Mine is gone. I may die tomorrow. If they don't fight, our fathers will come from the graves to fight for them. They have a right to fight for it. The better fight, man. The better bloody fight. No liberty is gained by laying down and
the government of Cameroon made every effort to get schools, businesses and transporters to open and operate their businesses, but this did not work. The government's last resort was to arrest the consortium leaders by January 19th. This did not go down well, as the Anglophones remembered what happened at the University of Boya with the arrest of their leaders, Agbo Balankongo Felix, and the banning of the consortium. This was seen as a point of no return.
Life will not be the same for Cape Town like we did before. That lie? The Bible tells we say time day for everything. Time day for violence, but time day for peace as well. Not be so? That's the reason Papa Biya sent me say, he can tell una beg una say the time for stop this violence it don't reach. Una hear? Una agree? Una agree?
Sisters, accept greetings from the consortium. As you're well aware, today has been declared a ghost town in the entire West Cameroon. We urge parents, teachers, business operators, Okada riders, taxi drivers to stay at home and respect the ghost town operation. We plead with each and every one that nobody should demonstrate. We don't want any violence. We don't want any destruction of public property. Notwithstanding the provocation from government, please stay at home. In spite of the fact that government is trying to fan the southwest-northwest divide, don't heed to any provocation. We don't want to shed any blood. We don't want our people to be killed. We don't want property to be destroyed. Please stay at home and respect the instructions of the consortium. Thank you.
By early November 2026, several students had been arrested at the University of Boya when the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Nalova Lyonga, was unable to handle the student protest, and this quickly entered into the annals of history as part of the Anglophone movement. And on the 19th of January 2017, with the banning of the consortium, that was when the gate of hell were unleashed. The government long-time enemy, the Southern Cameroon's National Council, NCNC, came fully into the picture and grabbed the steering wheel from the consortium leaders who had been arrested. That period saw Mark Barata, Tapan Ivo, and Eric Tato leading the revolution from the social media angle. They saw the vacuum led by the consortium leaders following the arrest, and that was a gift given to them by the Cameroon government on the platter of gold. This marked the transition of the Anglophone crisis, where people were calling for federation, respect of the bigerial nature, to the Ambazonia movement led by Ayok Tabe and others in what has now become known as the Ambazonia War of Independence. By September 22, 2017, things moved to a different level as hundreds of protesters stormed the streets across towns, villages, cities in the northwest and the southwest region, calling for the term Southern Cameroon's independence. On September 22, 2017, many marched to the streets chanting for the restoration of the former Southern Cameroon, carrying a flag which was seen as the former Southern Cameroon's flag. Under the command of the newly appointed self-government of the Ambazonian people, Ayok Tabe Julius and co., things did not go well. Ekona, Kumbu, Bamenda were the melting point of this crisis. That was the epicenter where it erupted. Journalists and politicians became central to it. Nji Lucas is one of the civil society's advocates who have experienced the heart of the Anglophone crisis. He has been one of those badly affected from the dreaded September 22 right till date. He narrates his ordeal. September 22, where were you? 2017.
September 22, I think that should be a certain Friday, and I had gone to work. Then I had a transaction which I had to carry out at, I think it should be CCA Bank or a certain bank in Moliko. And then I heard the voice of the large crowd, and many were wondering exactly where that crowd was coming from. And what I said was, okay, let me also understand what was happening. I was on the campus of the University of Boya on that set day. I left. I had a motorbike that I was heading to. I had to rush because I had a deadline with regards to this particular bank transaction. So I left the University of Boya campus. Then I rode to the main road on my bike. I saw a large crowd that was coming from my 16, mixed with some people from Bomaka, mixed with some people from Moliko. Then in the crowd, I could identify some people I know. So I had this fear since I observed that the people had already taken over the road. Then I had this fear. I had to now also rushed by the side. I got a branch of a tree where I also had to put on my bike, which now served as a peace plan, as they often referred to. Then I was now permitted to move with the crowd. So I rode right up to where I had to carry out my transaction. Then I did what I had to do. I think before I even got to the bank, they had partially closed their door because the crowd was not yet at that level. The crowd was still building up from my 17 coming up. Then when I got to CCA, they had partially brought down their door. Then they asked me to go to use the rear door. So I got to the rear door. That was how I was able to enter the bank. Then I had that transaction in closed doors. All the doors were now closed. Immediately I finished, I was asked to use the same door to my way out. But when I got to the road, this guy said I could no longer ride my bike. Then I pleaded until they accepted. Some said, but now that grandfather that will know sometime they be organized football for my sister will be like you. So that was how I was even freed, because some identified me as someone who had done something within the community, since it also had some children for my 16 within that particular period. And being a popular man, as per the time that most knew, because I had gone to work and I was actually running a documentation on the campus of the University of Boya within that particular period where I had my active presence. So that was how I got caught on that day. I could vividly remember that it was a Friday because it was a weekend, and I was told that if I don't carry that transaction, the recipient will be unable to get the cash to execute for the purpose of the transaction.
When you look at the Anglophone crisis as of that day till now, what has gone wrong and what has gone right, especially my 16?
That's a tough one. With regards to my 16, a lot has happened. Some people I grew up with are no longer alive. It should be recalled that after the Dedicam on a certain 15th of a particular January, I think that was still within the 15th of January, yes, 2018. I think 2018 or 2017, or the certain 15, which was a certain school day. And it was alleged, for those of us that were in the southwest, it was alleged that in a certain school in Muyuka, Dedicam meant that some men had invaded a certain school compound in Muyuka, and the principal was taken, and they said everybody should go. So myself and my kids were in school, and they were at the time they were schooling in Bomaka. So I had to struggle myself to pick them up. So looking at that 22nd of September 2017, which is what I call the sea of people that gave the seal to the now referred to as the voices, because the large crowd meant to the voices or to the extremists. You know, in every action you have people who are extremists, you have people who are moderate, and you have people whom you could now bring back to see reasons with you on certain things. It would appear on that 22nd of September, amongst that crowd, we already had the extremists within the Northwest and Southwest region. So the extremists already had their position as per what they wanted. But moderate who were looking at it to simply mean teachers and lawyers had said our educational system is being tampered with, our legal system is being tampered with. So those of us who could only see it from that perspective, we did not know exactly what was happening. So we never knew what was going to be at the end of the day. And it led to what? The loss of some friends that I grew up with, the loss of some people I have known for many years, the loss of some people whom I got to know at a particular point in time, and it later rendered certain areas unbearable. Whenever I talk about the Anglophone crisis, I cannot stop saying what is happening at the level of my own division, which I hold dearly, the Menchum division. From 2018, talking about what has happened, Menchum division is in total blackout. The roads are deteriorating every day, and there is nothing for someone to do as concerning it. So this is where we have found ourselves with the crisis. The large crowd in 2017, September 22, gave the seal to the people. The sea of people sealed the ongoing armed conflict, which later on brought to where we are. Children were now unable to go to school. Most communities never had the means to even know exactly what was happening, and so on. And you know, everything from what I understand was all about the fear of being killed. Of course, the first person who died in Boya as a result of this ongoing armed conflict was in my 16. For those who do not know, a lady just a few meters away from where I am was killed, and it is alleged that it was what is referred to as a gunner. I think, you know, when it comes to arms and the rest, there are people who understand these things. Some of us only hear them.
This is one of the most affected quarters in my 16. My 16 is in Boya subdivision, and one of the most affected quarter as far as the armed conflict is concerned. It was at this same stretch that a lot of activities occurred between members of the security forces and the armed separatist fighters. This quarter is called Malabo, and it is from this quarter that we had a lot that occurred as far as the armed conflict is concerned. And it is also alleged that one of the dreaded armed fighter that was killed is from this quarter. So this quarter has gone through a lot as far as the conflict is concerned. And also, if you move straight, it is also where the security forces are stationed. Straight, where the security forces are stationed, which I will have to tilt it a bit, because if you look at where I am right away, look at where we are standing now. Behind me is where you have the element of the security forces. That explains why this quarter was quickly and heavily under serious threat from the armed separatist fighters, also to the members of the security forces. And these people have gone through hell. And the conflict, the arm of the conflict may have died down, but the conflict itself has not died down.
I am presently standing. This is exactly where Bertrand, who was known as Pedro, one of the dreaded separatist leader, was actually killed and dumped. Where I'm presently standing here in my 16. I remember on that day, I had gone to work, then I got the news also like any other person that Bertrand had been killed. And when I got back, this is where I met his corpse. On this spot where I'm standing, I met his corpse on this spot, displayed on the main roads. You know, he is said to be someone who deterred a lot of people. Some said he had given them tax laws. So the military said they were going to display it. Now over there, that structure you see, that was where the defense and security forces, that's exactly where they were. They inhabited that area. They took over that structure. So it was like a watchtower for them. They were now looking at exactly what was happening. They could picture from different angles what was happening from different directions and so on. So this is exactly. Now when I moved down into the streets, down here, if you look across where you have those bags, that was where a certain corpse, those bags down there, a certain corpse was displayed. Now after those bags, you can see a taxi. Where you move down, where you have that umbrella, that was where the corpse, the remains of the guy who was known as Song, the guy who was actually known as Roland by name, was killed and displayed, who was said to be working with Bertrand. So when you talk about the My 16 community, it had been terrible. It's been very horrible. So when you talk about the cause of the crisis, it's been terrible. Now some structures, such as what you see, were perforated by bullet holes. They were perforated by bullet holes. So that's exactly when you talk about My 16. That is what it has been. But by the grace of God, today, with the work some of us will do, the advocacy some of us will do, and the things we do, it has somehow changed the situation. And today you can see it the way it is, which was previously not the case. So this is exactly where.
There is shooting going on now in My 16. You can see the Amber boys have come out. They are burning some cars in My 16, around the My 16 market. You can see from the video the smoke is going up. They are burning cars, and there's serious shooting confrontation between the military and the Amber boys in My 16, around the My 16 market. So everywhere is calm, no car, no movement, nobody is going up or down. So the whole place is just quiet. And the military, they are battling between the Ambers. And the Ambers have just put one car ablaze in My 16 there, around the My 16 market. You can hear the sound of a gun shot again. Shows that there's tension and explosion in My 16 this morning now as I'm talking. This early hour of the morning, Tuesday morning. You can hear the sound of a gun. Shows that it is not easy down in My 16. Everybody is belly down. Some people are running helter-skelter around the bush. So you can hear the sound of a gun. It's not an easy one in My 16 here now. Everywhere is so disastered. People are into hiding. Some are on the ground. No movement. So it is dangerous here in My 16. As I'm talking now, it's not easy. So let's just hope how this shooting will end and how long it will last. Thank you.
So when we talk about the Anglophone crisis, this particular town is a town that was badly hit, May 16. The story of the Anglophone crisis cannot be written without you hearing about May 16. This is a town where by mentioning the name, people will be scared to even come and stay in May 16. And that is why this town is very important when it comes to the issues about reconciliation, peace and justice. A lot of people have been killed in this town. Some have disappeared. Their families have never known where they are till date, and they will never know where they are until an inquiry is set up and the crisis is resolved. Derek Jato, a journalist who covered September 22, 2017, he was one of the journalists who had rare access to the epicenter of where the protest was boiling, which was Ekona. At the time working for Equinox TV, he was at the point of seeing what the cameras would see, but would never tell based on editorial lines.
They are in the corner. It's better on here.
But before we knew it,
We don't know the main reason why they are coming back. The security forces, every vehicle is coming back. Right now, we don't know why. That immediate turnaround. Everybody is coming back.
the angry Ekona population is chasing back the convoy with stones, and the security forces are fighting back.
All the doors in the compound closed. Even my children, when I was hiding inside the kitchen there, they had to break the door there, call my children to come outside. Then they were whipping this small girl.
The 22nd day of September 2017, we woke up here, or we got up here in Boya without knowing what will be the development that day. But as pressmen who have been following happenings and trying to predict what might be, we knew that it would not be a normal day. And the early hours of the morning was a bit calm, but about 10 a.m., the news of Ekona being barricaded. Ekona is like you can see on the pictures. Ekona is a neighboring town to Boya. Remember, Boya is the Southwest Regional Capital, and Ekona happens to be an agricultural driven area with most people there farmers, but very assiduous people. And Ekona equally hosting the one of the camps, or the portion of the Cameroon Development Corporation, the CDC. Most issue of the Anglophone crisis had long before that day been discussed in CDC camps. So that day we got that it is boiling in Ekona, the roads have been barricaded and the population is coming up. So inquisitively, I took a bike, knowing that we don't know what might befall us, and I went alone because my videographer or my camera technician said it was not safe. But I knew that was the source of the primary information. I took on the bike. The bike guy told me that I should not bother, he can handle my camera, by name Jude. And from there, I don't know where Jude is. I pray he's alive somewhere. So when we got to Ekona, before you get to Ekona town, for those who know the town too well, there's a checkpoint, that's a control post. When we got, as we were approaching, the street entering Ekona is in such a way that before you have a view of the town, you appear on a gentle slope, or on a gentle slope, and from there now you can see the view of the town in a valley. So when we got into that, or when we appeared on that small elevated portion of the road, we saw a fire in the distance at that control post. Now I was on the bike, unprotected. I did not have any gear on, and my cameraman said, "What should we do?" He was not a journalist. So I knew that I was already at the center. We had passed where we were not supposed to pass. Other media organs were blocked. But when we came on a bike, we did not know that there was some prohibition for people not to trespass or for civilians not to trespass. So when we got now to that portion, we saw a corner on fire and everywhere was militarized. For the first time, I saw more than 5 water cannons and I saw live bullets. Before that time, the Anglophone regions were more versed with, of course, water cannons and tear gassing, but not ammunitions. So it was strange. But fortunately for me, I went to the Legion commander, who was at the center. It's not every mission you see a Legion commander himself. So when I saw the Legion commander, I knew the magnitude of the event. Now, when you talk about the Legion commander, a Legion commander commands all the gendarmerie element in the region. So if he himself is on the field, it gives you an idea of the magnitude of whatsoever is unfolding. So I went to him, introduced myself, because at that point, you don't know who can be a protector, or you don't know who can even stop you. We are talking about now, you are in the center of agitating parties. I introduced myself. He did not answer, but he noted that I was there. Now I cannot go back because I don't know what awaited us. In front, as you can see on your pictures, it was already burning. Now I told my cameraman, who was my driver, that for us to be on the safer side, he should drive alone while I get on board a truck. This was the only way to identify myself or to embed myself now with the forces of law and order. I got up, I got into the truck, unpermitted, but the courage alone, I was not questioned, because you cannot just get on a military truck without permitted, and you cannot even dare to get there because you know that you are entering into a sulfur. So I got there, very bold, as if I was part of the detachment. So we're driving now into a corner. I saw how a corner, the control post had been attacked by the angry population, set on fire. We're entering. I was not taking pictures, and an element came to me and said, "But why are you taking pictures?" I said, "I've been permitted. That's why I'm with you people." But I wasn't permitted. So I was documenting. It got to a point, I knew that my bike man or my cameraman is not safe, and if his bike is seized, there's no guarantee for me to go back. I came down and I gave him my camera to film the situation and film me. So he took the camera. As you can see on the pictures there, I was now trying to give the situational picture. Stones, you see how the element of the gendarmerie trying to clear the road. At this particular moment, the population took to the hills, and in a while they will rain stones again or rocks on us. So I was analyzing the situation, that this is how Ikona has turned into this 22nd day of September 2017. And when we got further, the military, the element of the gendarmerie got into houses now. We had arrived at the main Ikona center. They got into neighborhood, got into houses. Those who could not flee because maybe they were old or they had children or they were young, they were removed. Others trashed. Everybody was a suspect. And for the first time, I saw the senior divisional officer on the scene. The senior divisional officer for FACO, may so rest in peace, Zantois. I saw him on the scene. He was giving orders because nobody least expected that the people of Ikona can do that. So it was like the Southwest region is under siege. And the Kona is perpetrating what the government had never dreamed of. Instructions were coming directly, measures were being taken. So as we were descending to the main Kona center, I was approached with a gun. An element came pointing the gun at me. I was standing there with my cameraman. He said, "What am I doing here?" Because at this particular moment, there was no civilian. It was a pure military operation. And in military operations, if you are not part of them, you are not supposed to be where everything is happening. Because not everything they do is for the public eye. So I said I was permitted by the colonel, that is the Legion Commander for the Southwest region. He called the Legion Commander while he pointed the gun at me for confirmation. So, in the beginning, remember I told you that I had greeted the Legion Commander. So, the greetings indicating that I'm with them or indicating that I'm on the scene saved me. The Legion Commander now responded that he asked me to be filming how they're clearing the barricade on the road. The man said no, but he cannot accept this because he saw me filming how they were trashing people from the neighborhood or removing people from the neighborhood. So that one, it was contrary to human rights and whatsoever. So I told my cameraman that we don't need to move, but we don't need to go back. And we don't need to be afraid, but we don't need to also be excited. We were discussing nothing but in the name of trying to calm down our own temperament and to send a signal that we are not afraid of what is happening. We were trying to normalize the situation in the minds of the security forces because they kept some people around us to monitor us. It was a pure military operation. Now, as they were descending, where the road actually was barricaded, the population of the Kona revolted or came head-on with the element. They were raining rocks on the element. And since we saw the senior divisional officer, now we're trying to identify ourselves with him so that it should be our protector at that moment. He is the administrator of everyone, so he should protect us. But he did not greet us. It was more of following certain orders and following certain protocol. We decided not to be trailing the element of the gendarmerie. Now, when we're following them where the road was barricaded for the road to be cleared, they could not go. The confrontation was intense. The population of the Kona came en masse. It was like, okay, we are ready for you people and we are ready for the confrontation. The vehicles, as you can see, there was no way to turn the cars. Every vehicle was reversing. We ran back, and at the end of the day, the matter was a bit normalized. So we came back. As we were coming back, the greater number of the population had taken into the bush, using other shortcuts to penetrate and come to Boya. We arrived through Munya. Before we could get to Munya, they said those from Mutengeni had already come. Mutengeni is a junction town, the entrance into Boya from Littoral region. They also came up, the people from Moliko, the student residential area. Remember before then, students had their own differences and the issue of 50,000 francs of the presidential grants and the issue of adding money for results and whatsoever. The mother university, the University of Boya, had its own internal issues. So students were very, very agitating. So when that situation arose or came up, they also joined. Now they said they were marching up to the governor's office to take over.
Barrister Anya Lewis is a legal mind who has represented several clients arrested in connection to the Anglophone crisis, being an Anglophone himself. He explained his ordeal as to what happened on September 22.
September 2022, 2017, yes, I was in the village, in my father's village in Jenaou, in Nebialem division, southwest region of Cameroon. And it was an extraordinary day because we saw an extraordinary peace spectacle. represented by all the people. Let me just use the word most English Cameroonians who went outside and demonstrated with peace plans because they wanted peace, just like we all want peace now, because ever since that day to now, we don't have peace, because you know that insecurity anywhere in any part of the country means that the country doesn't have peace totally, fully. Yeah, so that's it. I was in a village, in General village, under Alo subdivision, in Lebialem division, Southwest region. I was not actually expecting that kind of outcome, but what I saw that day, I saw that the people had the determination, the zeal for peace to reign in English Cameroon. Because people did not only march with peace plans in Boya, in Bamenda, in Bengui, in Kumbalimbe, but everywhere, even in the villages. Like I told you, on that day I was in the village. Njena village is a small village, but all the villagers, almost all the villagers came out with peace plans. They marched, they gathered, they had a talk on peace and what they wanted, which was for this crisis to end. From that day right on, the crisis persists. Any reasonable English Cameroonian, any reasonable Cameroonian will want this crisis to come to an end. But unfortunately, the crisis persists. And since today, it falls within the period wherein the Pope visited Cameroon. We are hoping that the Pope's visit will touch the heart of President Paul Biya in particular and the hearts of top government officials in Cameroon in general, for them to finally do the needful. And what is the needful in this case? Is to put an end to the Anglophone crisis. It makes no sense for a country to have this kind of crisis because we are all Cameroonians. The government is not for a particular people. President Paul Biya is not serving a particular people or particular interest. He is serving all Cameroonians. Cameroonians in English Cameroon voted President Paul Biya, and that's why he's the president of the Republic. Whether we like it or not, he is the constitutional president of the Republic. So what we expect from him is for him to ensure that there is peace, security, and stability, not only in English Cameroon, but all over Cameroon. That's our highest prayer, and we pray that the Pope's visit will finally touch his heart for him to organize genuine dialogue. What do I mean by genuine dialogue? To talk with the real stakeholders. If A and B, they have a problem, you don't go and talk with C. No, you talk A and B should be the two parties to dialogue. It's only when A and B the dialogue, that's when they can have a consensus. They can agree. They can grant concessions for peace to reign. So we need a genuine dialogue to be organized in this country. But globally and generally, I appeal to the President of the Republic to do what it takes, whatever it takes, to ensure that the Anglophone crisis is buried and buried forever. And to be honest, personally, as the national president of True Democratic Party of Cameroon, one of the key steps that the government must take to ensure that there is peace in Cameroon is to put in place a federation. Because whether we like it or not, decentralization has not only failed, it has failed the Cameroonian people.
In Bamenda, the situation was no different. As people were protesting, heavy force was used. On the 8th of December was a remarkable point.
This when just coming in at City Chemist roundabout. The police are confused. They are just like our observants. Happening now at City Chemist. This is happening now at City Chemist. At the end of the day, the SGO has been disgraced because his instructions were not followed. You don't keep this like
I remember on that particular day I prepared to cover the event at the Commercial Avenue. There was supposed to be a rally at the Grandstand Commercial Avenue, which some people, it was controversial because people thought that it was like some kind of provocation. But that rally was forced to take place at the Commercial Avenue, but it didn't take place. When I was approaching the Commercial Avenue, I saw guys from T Junction holding stones, things and all of that, you know, and their intention was to stop the rally from taking place. And when I approached, it was not going. I went to the hotel at Ayaba Hotel to meet Honorable Chief Delis. Then, of course, he is still the man in charge of the CPDM in Menchum. But we discovered that it was not going, and we were blocked at Ayaba Hotel, waiting for things to calm down. But rather, it escalated. We saw just smoke here and there from the major junctions in Bamenda, T Junction, City Chemist and all of that. So that night, I would never forget that particular night because I spent the night in Ayaba Hotel. I didn't go back home because there was no way to even move. We saw people were running helter-skelter, with the police trying to fire back with tear gas to disperse the protesters, and so it was a very, very chaotic day in Bamenda. It's a day that we will not wish that it should happen again because we've tested it and we think that things like this should not happen again in this Northwest region. Talking about thinking how it was going to end, I knew that after that day things were going to get back to normal. It started from that day with the ghost town and all of that, and till date, I see Bamenda not going back to where it used to be. It will be very difficult for us to go back to where we used to be as the people of the Northwest. Our greatest wish is that we should be able to forgive one another. We might have done things that were not correct, but we think that it's time for us to reconcile, to forgive one another, so that peace should return to this beautiful, once a beautiful land where we could move at night, at midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m. But today, it's a different story. Beginning from that day till date, the level of insecurity, everything is just changing. Insecurity is, people are not secured, and even at 6 p.m. you see people are already running back home. So that fateful day, I don't want to say it got us to where we are today because there's still a chance for us to reconcile and move ahead as a people.
situation in Bamenda, the crisis. There is a problem here, finding a solution for the crisis in Bamenda. And that problem is that we have politicized even our lives. What we eat is politicized. Our air we breathe is politicized. Our names now are politicized. What do you expect a real Bamenda man to tell you? That there is a solution for the crisis? The political class people, they know what is happening and they can solve the problem, because solving the problem will bring them another problem too that hurts them but not the people. But how can they do a thing without thinking about the people? You live because of a people, and the best thing you can do for your people is to sacrifice and bring goodness, nobleness. Paul on one said that it is a criminal lethargy on the part of those who will not want you to develop your talents to the fullest. Our talents are dying. I'm full of talents, but look at me. If I sing a real song, they'll tell me it's against the state. If I say the truth, they say you are speaking the truth against the state. Sometimes they want but the political truth. How do you expect us to live lives? You know, we are just praying that, you know, the Pope came and is gone. What next? Some imams will come and go, or what? We need to pray.
You know, I was a busy man, but I discovered something happened in the town. And when I'm a busy man, in that day, I want to thank God that I'm still alive. Because many people in this crisis, they did not make it. My message that I want to give to the whole Cameroonian and to give to everyone, please let bygone be bygone and let us say, I'm sorry. This is what I'm sorry. Let us go back to the culture of Christianity to see that we have feeling to fear God, not to fear man. Because what we are doing, whether the military is killing the military, the Amba is killing the Amba, we should not take somebody's life on our own. We are begging that please, 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 let us go back to the drawing board, to go back to Christianity and to fear God. I'm not standing to blame each other. That way crises have been happening. So I am begging that let peace, we are asking for peace, peace in Bamenda, peace in everywhere in Cameroon, peace. And let us go back to the drawing board. If we have hurt each other, let us say we are sorry. That's all. Thank you.
Honest, I left that morning for my job. By then, city chemists runabout, you know, was actually the hot spot for us each morning to go get what is happening in town. And you know, fortunately we were there, like gathering our news, and somewhere along the line, we saw how lawyers stand up with their black robes as they were moving, marching the streets and coming towards City Chemist roundabout. Somewhere along the line, the military, they came out. And what happened was that tear gas burst out. And when the tear gas burst out on top of the robes of, you know, the lawyers, Bamenda became something different. I should be honest to you that it was one of those days that I actually also inhaled the worst of tear gas because we were caught into that problem. And since that day, we had been having series and series of different, what we talk of Anglophone calls for peace, calling, you know, that the cry of the Englishman should be heard. And since then, as an Anglophone, we've been crying on it until date.
What has been the worst moment that you have experienced in this crisis?
The worst moment that I have experienced in this crisis was even my own attack. As a journalist, if you see my head, this is cutlass from Amber Boys. When they attacked me at about 5 minutes after 3 a.m. By then, it was when they had talked of ongoing 24 on 24 indoor. We had what people in the past noticed, that from 6 a.m. You can come out right up to 6 p.m. And from 6 p.m., we are indoor till 6 a.m. in the morning. And some persons took advantage of this curfew that was placed, and the harassment began, where people will come in the name of Amber. They will knock your door, they need support, and when you say, please, support for what? They themselves will not tell you what they need as support, but that you must support them. And it went up to a level where they could not differentiate who is a journalist and who is an activist. And so the whole mad rush in the Anglophone crisis that we are crying right up till today, continued. When we talk about the worst, how do you get into peripheries? Like go down to Mbengwe, like go down to Ngokochunja, like go down to Menchum Division, like go down to Bui, like go down. I mean, it has not been easy. And when we say the Anglophone crisis, that is the peak. When we say, honestly, I will tell you as a journalist, I've seen the worst within this crisis.
So we are at Menda Commercial Avenue. It is the heart of the Anglophone crisis. The story of the Anglophone crisis cannot be written without mentioning the Commercial Avenue. On the streets, several people have been killed. On the street, several people have been injured. On the street, several people have been arrested. On the street, vehicles have been attacked. On the street, fear, intimidation, victimization takes place. And when you look at the people of the northwest region of Cameroon, one thing they will tell you is that they need peace. This is a heartbeat of business in the northwest region of Cameroon. But since the crisis started, the people are suffering. Epileptic electricity is the order of the day. In fact, some quarters will go for 4 days, 5 days, week, 2 weeks, month. Some, as I'm talking to you, don't even have. And they have been for long without having electricity. And if you look at all these, the marginalization still is in their mind, despite the fact that they want peace. The people of the northwest are suffering, and the people of the southwest too are suffering because they make up the Anglophone community, former West Cameroon, former Southern Cameroon, and now under the Republic of Cameroon.
It has been getting to 10 years now, precisely November 2016 when the Anglophone crisis started. And as a journalist, media professional in the restive northwest region, precisely in Bamenda, it hasn't been an easy ride, because I will tell you that journalists have been in the crossroad, because at some point when you give out the story, it will appear like you're favoring a particular side, and when you give another version of the same story, trying to be objective, which is part of the canons, ethics and deontology of the media profession, it will appear you're favoring another party. So the belligerents of the crisis, both the non-state actors and the media professionals, have been caught up in the web. I'll share a personal experience. In December 2015, I was briefly kidnapped. Actually, 2 young guys, they just around the Brasseries Junction neighborhood. I just saw 2 young guys. They asked me to mount a bike, and I did not resist. Based on the trainings I've had on managing conflicts and crises, they actually pointed a gun at me. I mounted the bike, and they drove for about, say, 5-10 kilometers, and then they stopped in a particular area. And then in the course of discussion, I presented myself that I'm a media professional, I'm a journalist. I tried talking with them that, no, as journalists, our role is to educate the public, to inform, carrying out fair and objective reporting. And so I remember one of the guys, he told, they were very young, I think in their early 20s. I cannot ascertain if they were non-state actors, if they were security forces, but I know they were men carrying guns. That's what I can say. In their 20s, they were very young. One of them, I remember, he tried masking himself. And so I remember him telling me that if you be climb that bike, the first thing I said was to shoot you. Meaning that if I did not obey their command, he would have put a bullet on me. So these are some of the challenges that we face. Other challenges range from intimidation, harassment. At times you get you get calls from unknown numbers, and they threaten you. They tell you that that particular reporting that you are doing and stuff like that, it is quite challenging, like as a media professional, because I actually I anchor a political talk show in one of the private media organs here in the city of Bamenda. And so, like I said earlier, we've been in the crossroads, but our prayer is that media professionals should be allowed to do their work. We are not partisan. We are actually there to ensure that the population has verified and informed opinions or decisions as far as the crisis is concerned. It is our hope, wish and prayer that the crisis actually comes to an end. So like I said, it hasn't been easy, but God being on our side, definitely we will sail through the end of the tunnel. Thank you.
You know, we just had the Pope who visited the country some few weeks back, Pope Leo XIV. And immediately after his departure, you heard of the attack that took place in Bui division of the northwest region of the country. About 14 persons being killed. It means all the discussion about peace never went well to some persons. That's still on the part of the government. Let me go to the part of the separatists now. Recently, in the Bamenda municipality, you hear how heavy equipment that were used in the construction of roads were burned down by some individuals. Don't forget that where we are today because of the Anglophone crisis is part because of the coffin revolution by Mancho BBC. And that coffin revolution is because some Chinese company came into town, dug up roads and then abandoned them like that. So if the roads are now coming, why as separatist fighters we find pleasure in trying to kidnap and then burn down equipments of companies doing construction in town. Secondly, whether you like it or not, there is still marginalization. Let me get back to the original set of the Anglophone crisis, because it started like marginalization. Teachers, lawyers complain of marginalization. You and I, we know recently, some few days back, we had appointment into the board of directors for Sokadel, 8 members plus the board of 8 members and the directors, about 10 members, no Anglophone. This is to tell you that Anglophones probably are not worthy enough to manage construction or electricity or the distribution of electricity in this country. That's marginalization. So I feel that the Anglophone crisis is far from getting over. If you look at even from the actions of the government and the action even from the separatist fighters. But what is the way forward? I feel that, like the Pope said, the Pope talk about peace, but there's no peace without justice. Peace is not sermon that is preached. It is events that are built up to successful peace. So the government need to follow this trajectory for us to have, if they really want peace, to come back into the northwest regions of Cameroon. Separatist fighters too, they need to listen to the call of the Pope. If he said we should put our hands together and stop shedding blood, yes, we know we have a problem, but then killing will not solve the situation. Like I already mentioned, we have the roads that are coming to Bamenda. As people, all of us who want the roads to come, they should stop attacking companies that are in charge of construction of our roads, especially the Bamenda urban crossing.
No. I don't think that anybody, myself or anybody, would have anticipated that we're going to end up in this kind of situation where you really have an armed conflict and thousands of people dying. I think the whole idea was just that it was like any other pressure that was mounting on government to make changes, to listen to people and make changes, but it looks as if the situation was not handled ahead of time and then things got out of control. I think the worst moment is, there have been so many worst moments, especially when you see that somebody has died, people who are not even aware of what is happening, children, women, in fact, those who cannot even defend themselves. So those are moments that are the worst for me, when people die, when they are not really at the center of the conflict. You really find that they are the weakest part of society. Women and children are generally the people who are who are the soft spot of society, and conflicts that generally affect them was more than other sectors of society.
A protest that was peaceful in some areas turned violent in others, as the government resorted to the use of heavy force, resulting in the death of some protesters. Ekona and Bamenda became the epicenter of the crisis. By 1st October 2017, different groups of self-styled defense forces under what became known as the Ambazonia Restoration Forces became a reality. It saw the emergence of self-styled generals, as this was no longer a peaceful protest, but the Ambazonian People Liberation War. The Biya's government was not ready to listen to those who had picked up arms, just as it was unable to listen to those who had not picked up arms. President Paul Biya, seeing that things were not going well, quickly cut short his trip and landed at Semalen International Airport, when he was briefed that soldiers and gendarmes had been killed in Kumbo by some self-styled generals. President Paul Biya then declared war on the separatists. That was when things quickly fell apart.
J'ai appris avec émotion l'assassinat de 4 militaires camerounais et de 2 policiers dans le sud-ouest de notre pays. Suite à la disparition de ces 6 valeureux militaires et policiers, je voudrais présenter mes condoléances aux familles éprouvées, ainsi qu'à nos vaillantes forces de défense et de sécurité. Je pense que les choses sont désormais parfaitement claires pour tout le monde. Le Cameroun est victime des attaques à répétition d'une bande de terroristes se réclamant d'un mouvement sécessionniste. Face à ces actes d'agression, je tiens à rassurer le peuple camerounais que toutes les dispositions sont prises pour mettre hors d'état de nuire ces criminels et faire en sorte que la paix et la sécurité soient sauvegardées sur toute l'étendue du territoire national. Je vous remercie.
Merci, Monsieur le Président.
By 2018, villages were being burnt and killings on both sides intensified and became a new normal. The emergence of armed generals became something that was seen as a day-to-day reality. Stronger names emerged from the reality, which was terrifying to the people in those localities. Some people still had the faith at the time that the Anglophone crisis will yield good fruit. However, things quickly took a different dimension as fighters started fighting against each other.
Fellow people of Southern Cameroon, fellow Ambazonians. Today, the 17th of August 2022, me, Colonel Amoka, on behalf of Ground Zero generals and commanders, I come out for pass some very important issues. I'm going to talk about 4 issues where it worry Ground Zero and it need for be solved immediately. Then I'm going to give some information where Ground Zero need for know. I'll give some information where it will help Ground Zero and it will hasten our struggle, make it go faster, we'll defeat our enemy, La Republic. Number 1, I want to say the Council of generals and commanders. They be done, she done, they vote her Bitakola and me, Colonel Amoka of the Buffaloes, as the spokesperson where they got the talk all thing for Ground Zero, and anything where it concern Ground Zero where not be we two will talk that thing be cancelled, may man not take them serious.
Correct.
Then I want to go further for talk say some people then for diaspora, they don't go to challenge the authority of the generals and commanders, especially Kapol Daniel, spokesman of the ADF, one day today say in a day is Simon. First thing I say, we don't make one communication Sunday the kiss of woman for Southern Zone where the woman be innocent. But we for Ground Zero will not be sham say you get to make that kind of communication without investigation. Kapol Daniel, you don't cause a lot of atrocities of Ground Zero and you don't come out in two different outings. You misinform Ambazonians them for plenty things them. Grand Prayer will tell you say not there. Except that Hong Kong where it stop for day is Simon for Ground Zero generals and commanders. Kapol Daniel will still inform you say as from now hence any information where you got misinform Ambazonia about shutdown or about whatever, your family and your every property will be put into jeopardy. That's so Ground Zero generals and commanders talk to me, I tell you, say you not there someplace. Then concerning where you talk to school, they start on the 1st of September, that one a lie. No school not gonna start on the 1st of September. School gonna start for Ambazonia Community School, Mission School, and private school gonna start for Ambazonia on the 4th of October. Yes, that's so it gonna work. On the 4th of October, that's so.
And by 2019, President Paul Biya finally addressed the nation, acknowledging to Mo Ibrahim that there was an agenda to assimilate the Anglophones, but it did not work.
Une partie était sous colonisation britannique, l'autre sous colonisation française. Il a en résulté une juxtaposition de culture et de civilisation qui rendent les choses assez délicates. Bon, on a tout fait pour mettre à égalité les deux langues, les langues anglaise et française, mais les mentalités, le système scolaire, le système de la magistrature sont différents. Nous avons donc eu des conflits conservés à la partie de mon pays qui était sous colonisation britannique, un statut spécifique, mais il reste dans l'unité de la nation. C'est ça le problème que nous avons à résoudre. On avait la possibilité de les intégrer directement dans le système francophone, qui était celui de la majorité du peuple, 80%. Mais je crois que les pays sont soucieux aujourd'hui d'affirmer leur identité. Et c'est pour ça que nous mettons sur pied une spécificité de la zone anglophone, mais elle reste dans l'intégrité territoriale.
President Paul Biya finally addressed the situation by 2019, calling for a major national dialogue, a dialogue that started on the 30th of September and ran up to the 4th of October 2019. People saw the date simply historic for the major national dialogue. Many were invited, some separatists who still had international arrest warrants on them.
My names are Capture and Destroy. 1st Brigade Commander of FACO, the People's Army, commonly called the Ambazonian Army. I am here to participate on behalf of the generals and commanders of FACO for the peaceful dialogue called up by the head of states and Cameroonians of goodwill. I have been sent by my fellow generals and commanders to represent them in this peace conference. Alongside with me, I was given some demands and pardons to be put before the head of state to see how it will be possible for us to work together to see that peace return to our country. There is a common notion that the Amba boys know no mercy, don't want peace. It's a lie. I am the President General of that brigade. I am here because we want peace. And we want the government to help us achieve that peace. We are willing to work together as a people, keeping all our differences aside, to see that peace return, for our children to go to school, for our brothers and sisters to return to work. To those who know me, I have my method of operation. But if it has reached this point, where I look upon myself and the suffering my people have gone through, I say it is time for us to give peace a chance. I will plead with the government and every Cameroonian of goodwill to help us achieve that aim. One of the things that my brothers and sisters, my fellow commanders and generals of FACO, and I solemnly believe that it is part of, if not all the minds of the fellow fighters like me, but part of their mind, that if these demands will be looked into with great consideration, we will together help the forces of law and order to bring peace. These demands are: 1, we are pleading with the head of state and the people of Cameroon to see how our brothers and sisters that are suffering or languishing in the various jails around Cameroon to be released. 2, we are seeing how amnesty can be granted to our foreign brothers and sisters. You and I, we are Cameroonians. They will have people who have decided to nationalize outside because of fear. We want to see if all these demands, if this will be possible for amnesty to be granted, so that all those having the big knowledge that they have learned from the white man and all those having the wisdom to build a country can return home. Together we work as one people to bring peace once again to our nation. 3, since independence and reunification, the English people and the French people have decided to live in peace as one people to defend one fatherland. We think it is time for us to be given that opportunity to vote our governors, our administrators, and to manage our resources in our own territory for the betterment of the Cameroon people. And not those that, because presently now some persons who want to ask on this third point that we have representatives. We don't want politicians that are willing to satisfy their stomachs. We want people that are willing to see to the cry of the people. We are from the slums, as some people might call it. They will have a mind. We have the right to talk because we are Cameroonians.
But dialogue yielded no substantial fruit as the conflict continued, despite granting of a special status, the redeployment of teachers to the northwest and southwest regions, and the recruitment of 1,000 bilingual science teachers. Even with the creation of the House of Chiefs, fighting still very active in the northwest and the southwest region. The Anglophone crisis clocked 10 years this October 2026. Many expect the government of Cameroon to ensure that it resolved the issue. However, some government officials have had issues discussing this at the level of the government structures. The Cameroon's parliament has never discussed the Anglophone crisis. Within the conflict, several high-ranking officials of the world have visited and added their voice to the conflict, but the government of Cameroon has never addressed it the way these persons have. The most recent is that of Pope Leo XIV in his visit to Bamenda, which was symbolic as it became a center of discussion.
My dear brothers and sisters, today the Lord has chosen all of us to be the workers who bring peace to this land. Let us all say a prayer to the Lord that peace will truly reign among us, that as we release these white doves, symbol of peace, that God's peace will be upon all of us, upon this land, and keep us all united in His peace.
This is the big Macron Cathedral. It is a place that was visited by Pope Leo XIV in his papa's visit. The pontiff had a discussion with the population of the Northwest and the Southwest region during his visit as far as the Anglophone crisis is concerned. In here, you had the Imam of the Northwest and the Southwest region, the representative, talked about the crisis and begged His Holiness to see into it that the crisis can be resolved. In here, you had the Archbishop of the Bamenda Diocese, His Grace, also talked about the crisis, and he said, there is nothing as a Catholic peace, there is nothing as a Protestant peace, there is nothing as a peace from a different religion. All the people of the Northwest and the Southwest need is peace. And weeks after the Pope left Bamenda, the situation has not changed as far as armed conflict is concerned. In fact, as we are talking to you, there was a killing that occurred in this same region, which is the Northwest region, in Bui Division, in Jakiri Subdivision, in a locality known as Zianyam, in which several people were killed, 14 to 15. The government of Cameroon said all those who were killed are the armed fighters of the Northwest region, and that none of them is a member of the civilian population, whereas officials on the ground, local officials on the ground, in terms of eyewitnesses, made it clear that among them, yes, government soldiers killed some separatist fighters, but among them, some civilians were also killed. However, the official statistics as to the truth of that killing is yet to be determined. Several military officials have been killed since the Pope left this Bamenda, and several civilians too have been killed since the Pope left the Bamenda. The Anglophone crisis has produced untold hardship to the people of this town, and also have claimed the lives of several people of this same town. If you get to the minds of ordinary Bamenda person or the person from the Northwest and Southwest region and ask one simple question, what are your priorities? They will tell you the Anglophone crisis be resolved immediately. And with the Pope visiting this big Mancon Cathedral, many expectations in the minds of the people were that immediately after the Pope's visit, peace will return in the restive region. However, the Pope gave his message. His message was directed to the belligerent. It is now left for them to reply, the Pontiff, on a positive note. The Pontiff talked about dialogue, justice, reconciliation. And it was in this same cathedral, in front of the cathedral, where doves were thrown for peace to return. Since those doves were thrown, peace has not returned in this city, and many are still hoping that as far as the doves are flying, peace will one day return. It is left for the government of Cameroon to reply. How will they reply? They reply that many expect from the government of Cameroon is a release of political prisoners, the release of those in connection to the armed conflict, a genuine dialogue with those who are carrying arms, alongside those like the Naira 10 in prison, in the person of Sisiko Ayoktabe and Co., and also a discussion of the form of the state, and looking at the bijurial and the bicultural nature of Cameroonians. That is the discussion that many Cameroonians are expecting that the government of Cameroon will reply. Yes, many of the opinion that they want to stay in this union, but they want a fair share of the national cake in what is called eating together, not just living together. The Pope made it clear that peace is not a slogan. Peace cannot be decreed. And that is what the people from the Northwest and Southwest region are experiencing. They're experiencing a declared peace, a sloganarian peace, and that is why in it, people are dying. It is 10 years since the Anglophone crisis started. Several people are still in the dreaded Kundengi Central Prison, including Ayoktabe and Co. Others are still at the Secretariat of State for Gendarmerie, SET, while thousands are still missing. For the government of Cameroon, many eyes are watching and hoping that the Biya-led government will do the needful. Many have acknowledged the failure of major national dialogue, and many people are still being killed today.
What moves and what dialogue we are talking about? Permit me say very bluntly that since the independence of this country and reunification in 1961, there's hardly been any dialogue between the governance or the government of the day and the population. We can go through memory lane. Fumban was not a dialogue. Okay. After Fumban, we had a semblance of, in the 90s, never dialogue.
The tripartite?
The tripartite, all of that. It was an imposition from the central government. We move on to talk about the dialogue, sending people to Bamenda. Yes, very welcome relief. But what is dialogue, Leonard? Dialogue should be based on clear talking points, which should be discussed before the period of the dialogue. The talking points should be discussed by those engaged in the dialogue. And those dialoguing should be identifiable. Okay. But what we found in the major national dialogue was some sort of a dialogue without any clear talking point, a dialogue without, should I say there was dialogue? I was part of that dialogue. I moved from one department of the dialogue to another, shouted out my lungs. But it seemed as though that dialogue was to get people shout out their grievances with a carefully placed team to come out with the resolutions. In French, they say, le chien aboie, la caravane passe. So we simply went there to back, while there were people who had been put in all the departments of the commission to craft what would be. So, I should say, there was a semblance of bringing people together to air their grievances, but there was no dialogue because there were no clear talking points.
Despite Paul's visit to Cameroon and in Bamenda, many are expecting President Paul Biya to ensure that this conflict is resolved. A day will hardly go by without people being killed in the northwest and the southwest region. The conflict is now seen as a forgotten one.